So we have some amazing news when it comes to Xbox and, of course, Xbox Game Pass with Call of Duty and all of the Activision Blizzard games. Phil Spencer comes out and talks about the new deal and how they're going to approach it and the strategy around Game Pass surrounding it. And we also have a brand new IP being developed by Xbox Game Studios with over 200 developers building this new game out. Let's get into all the details because finally we have new games being developed and we have Xbox Game Pass being the front and center of what the Activision Blizzard deal is all about. So let's get into everything. Alright, so you know the drill. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button and that like button. And if you want to be notified on future videos, hit that small little bell icon. And if you want to go that extra mile to support the channel, hit that join button. All the support is greatly appreciated. Alright, so I just kind of want to jump right into this because we know that the talk of the town is going to be this Activision Blizzard deal with Microsoft and Xbox and all the legislations going through. Not to mention, I think China just blocked this, which a lot of people are misinterpreting it. They're kind of blocking a lot of other things, but I don't think Microsoft and all of them are worried about China and what they're going to be doing with this. They're more worried about Europe and Britain and all the other people in the CMA and the European competitive board of what they're going to make their decisions on. But when you look at this, a lot of people have been reporting that Call of Duty has a lot of these preliminary restrictions when it comes to Game Pass, that Sony has put into their contracts that Call of Duty cannot join Game Pass even after Xbox buys these games. Well, it's starting to look like that might not be what's happening. In this article, Phil Spencer talks about Xbox Game Pass and also Call of Duty. Here's what's said in the article. Games will be added to the Game Pass system. Reportedly, in an interview with The Verge's Decoder, Phil Spencer said, "We are committed to keeping Call of Duty on the PlayStation platform. People are worried about it. We are committed to adding these games to Game Pass. This way, we're going to give people more options for how they want to play these games," he said, stating that if the deal is concluded, Call of Duty will not have any Game Pass obligations for the PlayStation presence. Spencer said he is willing to take a longer-term deal with Sony, but the idea of a contract that says forever is a bit silly. The previous arrangement guaranteed that Call of Duty would stay on the PlayStation front until 2017. However, Microsoft seems open to a new contract due to the fact that Call of Duty has not been removed and Sony's concerns. Today, the Activision Blizzard agreement continues to be reviewed by regulatory agencies in many countries. So, this is what we need to talk about. What is going to happen to Call of Duty when it does join the Xbox Game Studio family? What's going to happen with all the Blizzard games? Well, it's going to go into Game Pass. We've seen this day in and day out that Xbox truly wants to put a lot of their games, if not all of their games, into Xbox Game Pass because that's the thing they want to feed. They want to feed their subscription service. And why wouldn't they? It's already profitable, and Phil Spencer and Xbox has talked about it being this profitable, and it's only in its very immature state right now. You got to think of it this way. In 2022, Xbox didn't have any first-party games. I'm talking about big AAA games that came out. And I know they had games like Pentiment, which is reviewing well. I know they had a couple other games like Grounded that had their full release, but I'm just talking about big games that have come out, games like God of War, games that are big like Assassin's Creed, or games that are big like Redfall, Starfield, and their big IPs like Gears of War. None of those games have come out this year, yet Game Pass has continuously grown and has stayed profitable. So what do you think is going to happen if they drop Call of Duty in their day and date? And I'm not talking about just console, I'm talking about PC and cloud. It would completely change the structure of Game Pass. It will get a lot of people, especially on the PC side, to finally subscribe to the service. Because right now, Phil Spencer has talked about Game Pass kind of reaching its limit on console. He's even said at some point, you've reached everyone. And now that a lot of these games that are coming out, especially first-party games and third-party games, are next-gen only, they'd have to sell 30 to 40 million consoles in the next year to get further into the subscription service and those numbers. Because at that point, it's a hardware restriction. Yet on PC, they don't have that problem. And on cloud, they definitely don't have that problem. So people can just subscribe on PC and of course subscribe on cloud and have the console be the base of what they're doing. So that is going to be the thing moving forward. Yet it is a story to be told because people thought that Sony put a lot of stuff into the contract that made Call of Duty unable to come to Game Pass. When Phil Spencer's saying things like this, he means that no, they're going to come to Game Pass. We're going to give people more options, especially since we own Call of Duty. That is going to be the next big thing that happens. You can play the game on PlayStation for $70, or you could come on Game Pass, PC or console, and pay $10 a month or $15 a month and get the game easily right there. Not to mention the 200 plus games that are on Game Pass already, and a different ecosystem that has a lot of first party games dropping every single month or every other month, which they hope to do next year or starting next year. And that's what brings me to the next game, which is the Zenimax Online Studios. A lot of people forgot about this, but I reported on this about a year ago, and Zenimax Online Studios is basically making a brand new game. And I just want to get into the details, so let's do it. What you need to know. Zenimax Online Studios, the studio behind The Elder Scrolls Online, is currently working on a new IP. According to an interview with Ben Jones, creative director of the game, this new IP has been in development for 4.5 years. Jones notes that he leads the design team of 50 people and that the game is now being worked on by a team of almost 200 developers in total. That is insane to think about. So we know that ZeniMax Online is one of the most successful studios at Bethesda. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but it's true. Elder Scrolls Online has a massive following and has been a staple in the MMO front for a very long time. They continuously get a lot of content updates, they continuously get a lot of support to the community, and it has become a very big MMO that people continuously play. And I'm talking about on the consoles and PC. I know a lot of people that play it on both. And they're also the people that made Fallout 76. Now, that is something that I think a lot of people don't like. Even though the developer in that game launched with, a lot of people side-eyeing it, it has grown into another big game that people enjoy. A lot of the updates that came out after Todd Howard basically came in there and fixed it, made it into something big. And that's what this article kind of talks about right here. ZeniMax Online Studios has continued to chug away at its new IP, and it's clear that this game is getting a lot of internal resources, even as little is publicly known about just what this game will be. Speaking on the Product Builders podcast, creative director Ben Jones talked about some of the work that is going into this new IP, including how he's been working on it for the past 4.5 years. Jones shared that the design team he leads consists of about 50 people, while the greater development team working on the game consists of almost 200 developers. Jones also knows that this team is spread all over the globe, and that the game is a considerable investment in a very large scope project, which lines up with prior scarce details on the game. Of the 200 developers, Jones says that around half are working remotely. The director also adds that the story has changed multiple times over the game's development, saying that you could create great art, but if there isn't a good story to connect with that art, it's gonna fall short, and vice versa. We all know that ZeniMax Online has been going crazy, and we know that they've been hiring like crazy. This has been something that a lot of people didn't know about. Even before Xbox bought Bethesda, they were hiring for a lot of people for this project, not to mention hiring more people to support Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76. But it's this project specifically that is going to be something new and different that I'm really excited for. And for them to be working on it for 4.5 years, I feel like we might get an announcement soon. And that's what this talks about here. This new game has been described as a AAA game with a new engine, but otherwise, little is currently known. As Bethesda Softworks is part of the Xbox first-party organization, this new IP will naturally launch across Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and Windows PC. But we'll have to wait to find out more. And that's the funny thing. They even mentioned about how they're going to be having the Firesong DLC for the Elder Scrolls Online, how this has been one of the biggest studios coming because they support their games like crazy, and they're working on a brand new AAA game. I know that Xbox has a lot of games in the work, but I'm really excited to see this because I do love MMO games. A lot of them haven't grabbed me lately though. I've been trying to play World of Warcraft, I've been trying to play a bunch of other MMOs, but none of them have really grabbed me. Even Lost Ark, I played it for a while and then I lost interest. I want to see what ZeniMax Online can do because I know this game's going to be on PC. That's where I prefer to play, and that's where I prefer to play a lot of my MMOs because that's where they are. They're exclusive to the PC. There's not a lot of games that are MMOs on the console. So as a gamer, I want to see what they have in store because if it's a brand new AAA game, I think it's going to be great. And to be honest, the Elder Scrolls Online game seems a little outdated to me. I want to see something different. I know it's an older game, it's almost 10 years old, so I want to see something different. I want to see a new MMO come out, and I want to see a new online game which is being built by the studio that supports their game so well. But let me know what you think about all this. Are you surprised that Phil Spencer talks about Call of Duty being on Game Pass? Do you think Sony's going to want Call of Duty on Game Pass, or will that hurt their business, which we all know the answer to that? And do you think the legislation is going to allow Call of Duty to go on Game Pass, or is there going to have to be some restrictions for this deal to go through? And are you surprised that Elder Scrolls Online is working on a AAA game that's built from a new engine? And are you surprised that there's 200 developers working on this big game for the last 4.5 years? Do you think we're going to get an announcement in a year or two, or do you think it's closer than we think, and that development cycle of 4 years is pretty long? Let me know what you think down below. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button to support us out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I've been jumping into a lot, and I mean a lot, of God of War Ragnarok. I'm really enjoying the game. I think it's a lot of fun, but to be quite honest with you, it's not grabbing me like 2018 did. And God of War is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I just feel like there's not a lot of combat in the game. I know that's weird. Maybe I need to go a little bit further in. I'm about 10 to 11 hours in. Maybe it starts picking up a little later, but right now I feel like I'm doing a lot of searching and puzzles. And I just finished playing God of War from the olden days. I'm talking about the PS2 God of War. And there was a lot of combat in that game. And in 2018, I felt like there was a lot of combat. So I don't know. I feel like they need more combat in this game, and I want to see it more. I'm enjoying it. It's at about like an 8.5 to a 9 for me right now, but it'll go up to the stratosphere if they start bringing some more combat in, because I really love the way the game feels. I love the combat when I'm in it, but it's just too short when it happens. It has about 20 minutes of puzzle, and then about a minute to 2 minutes of combat, and then that's it. And then I move on to another 20-minute puzzle or exploration. I want to see more fighting. I want to see more combat. And I love the enemies. I love the game, but I need to see more of that. But let me know what you're playing. Are you playing something on your Xbox Series X, your PlayStation 5, your PC, or are you playing something on your Switch or somewhere else on Nintendo? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here for. It's to talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching. And until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.